See, I did say it was more complicated than just go into the shop to get it. Now, that is the end of that. Oh, no drone.
We've got two at home that have, like, sort of robot wars in the sky.
You're encouraging.
Honestly, they're fantastic. Sorry. Anyway, no excuses if you get into trouble.
Right. Back to the Christmas Advent calendar. That was the last time we'll say that. So you've picked one dough. Pick another number. Let's go for another anecdote from the book.
Number 8.
Oh, number 8. Let's have a look behind number 8. And, it's a wonderful bunch of folk.
Oh, well, that's the first television show I ever did in England. That's Dear David Frost, who gave me my chance, Sheila Stiefel, me, the two Ronnies, Dear Ronnie Barker on the left and Julie Felix, who used to sing on the show. It was 1966. And David plucked me out of obscurity. I was in New York, and he rings me up and he says, "Hello, would you like to be on a show with me in the new year?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "I'm doing a show for the BBC with two people you won't have heard of, called Ronnie Barker and Ronnie Corbett. Do you want to be in it?" And 3 months later, I was on a peak-hour television show. The luckiest man. I mean, he just took me out of obscurity, and I owe so much to him. He's a very, very sweet man. I'm hugely fond of him.
Brilliant.
I was so sad when he passed on.
And was that show at last, the 1948 show?
No, that followed shortly afterwards, because I made a bit of an impact in that show. David, who was my patron, asked me if I wanted to do a show of my own, and he had a similar idea with dear Tim Brooke-Taylor, so the two of us got together and we said, and we want Graham Chapman in the show. And David said, anyone else? And we said, yes, Marty Feldman. And he said, but Marty's a scriptwriter, because in those days, Marty didn't perform.
And I
said, trust me, he's going to be a wonderful performer. So the four of us did this very stupid show, which was, I used to say it was halfway to Monty Python, and on Sunday I saw 2 episodes that have just been rediscovered.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's kind of exciting. We're beginning to find all these episodes that were wiped about 30 years ago.
Well, this is you and Marty doing a brilliant sketch. Here it is.
We're so lucky to see this.
Which one is this?
Here we go.
This is the face of Aristide Goulet, the French trade union leader. Aristide...
Those recordings haven't been found, have they, for 50 years? We're very lucky, as Matt said, to have those.
Well, they're beginning to turn up, just little bits of them, so we're hoping we can put the whole thing together. Because, I mean, the show, when I saw it on Sunday night, I was amazed at how like Monty Python it was. You could have taken some of the sketches right out of it and put them in.
Let's have another door.
Right,
open,
all right,
pick a number.
What about number 5?
Number 5.
That's a lovely picture. Tell us all who that is.
Well, that's dear old Dad.
Yeah.
And you know, when he was born, his name was Reginald Francis Cheese. Did you know?
Which you couldn't make it up, John,
Absolutely
could you?
true. His dad was John Edwin Cheese, and when he went into the First World War, bless him, in 1915, he changed the H to an L because he was fed up with being T. So I should be a Cheese.
So thanks to him, you're John Cleens.
So it was him that changed it, right?
But I would much rather have been a Cheese, because I think Cheese is a really nice name, and now I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't stand myself, and my closest friend at school was called Barney Butter.
Oh, it works so well. But listen,
okay.
Talking of saying cheese, let's have another photo.
One final one.
17.
17, OK.
What have we got?
Well, who is the beautiful lady in the middle?
The interesting one is second from the left.
Oh, yes, I didn't see him with a beard there.
Michael Palin! Hey! Michael Palin, although his figure isn't as good as mine.
What's going on there, then, John?
Well, I've no idea. It's one of those pictures from your past.
It's one of the shot where they panned along all of the ladies in bikini, and then you're on the desk.
That's right.
Giving it that.
Yeah, that's right. We were actually shooting for the first Python film, which was a collection of sketches called And Now for Something Completely Different. Yeah. You're absolutely right. And the girl on the left is called Beulah Hughes, and she was great. She was in the television series a lot. Wow. It's wonderful to see that. That's 1971, I think, or 70. Yeah.
We've literally got a few seconds left on this particular item, but is there a story in the book that is your favourite?
Yes, I think one of my favourite stories, but it's too long to tell you. It's about the man trying to kill the rabbit.
Oh.
OK.
He was the kindest man I ever met, and he saw this rabbit with myxomatosis, and he thought that he would put it out of its misery because it was a very unhappy little rabbit.
Right.
But he didn't know how to...
Well, to find out how the story ends, they're going to have to buy the book, John.
Well, it's a long story, but I think it's the funniest thing I've written for 20 years.
Lots of brilliant stories in it. There is out now. It's called So Anyway. Now then, John, we know you love your Moggy. It's a great big thing you've got, isn't it, the cat? There she is. Is it a he or a she?
It's a he. It's a he, and he's called Felix. And
Lovely.
My wife took a photograph of him yesterday because he's so huge. I mean, this is like, you know those stretch limos they have in Los Angeles where they take a limo and then they sort of put a bit in the middle?
Yeah.
This is a stretch cat. Somebody's put a bit in the middle of it because it's a perfectly ordinary cat up one end and down the other end.
Yeah.
In the middle there's some extra piece of cat that shouldn't be there.
Wow.
And it's enormous.
Well, some all singing and all dancing cats, even bigger than yours, are back in the West End thanks to a revival of Baron Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical Cats.
But where did the tale begin? Well, here's how Andrew got his mittens on the kittens.
It is written over 70 years ago for a young schoolgirl named Susanna Morley.
You had a very famous godfather, didn't you?
Yes, my godfather, one of my godfathers was T.S. Eliot, the poet. But to us children, always Tom. He was like a big brother.
T.S. Eliot is considered a founding father of modern poetry. But this serious literary figure had a hidden, playful side. And in 1939, he published a collection of poems about one of the nation's favourite animals.
Yes, well, this is the first edition of Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats. So there I am, Susanna Loveday Morley was me, from her affectionate godparent, Uncle Tom.
Well, this collection of poems
Yes.
first appeared in a way in letters to you.
Yes, they were written to us, to a whole group of us children at that time. Then he decided to make a collection of them, and this is why he put them together as Old Possum's Book. That was his own nickname for himself, Old Possum.
The book sparkles with witty stories about colourful feline characters, with names like Mr. Mistopheles and Mungo Jerry.
I think Macavity has got to be my favourite. Macavity's a mystery cat. He's called the Hidden Paw, for he's the master criminal who can defy the law. He's the bafflement of Scotland Yard, the flying squad's despair.
But when they reach the scene of crime, Macavity's not there.
Macavity, there's no one like
The escapades of characters like Macavity amused and entertained children around the world. And years later, one young fan would be inspired to bring them to life through music.
Reach the scene of crime. Macavity's not there. Well, this is the copy of Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats that I had when I was a child, and it's the one that I wrote the show on. It's got all my notes, all my thoughts and everything.
How old were you when you first got this book?
I'd have been about 8, I guess.
And when you read these poems,
Well,
did you hear the melodies then?
No,
that
not
young?
really. I mean, when I was a kid, I just loved them, and I often used to come back to them just because I liked them. But the amazing thing is just how musical these words are. A brilliant, brilliant writer using language and images.
Joe, what's your absolute favourite?
Oh, gosh. Funnily enough, I do like Skimble. I think that he's always very sweet. Well, this is my version of it. There's a whisper down the line at 11:39 when the night mail's ready to depart, saying, Skimble, where is Skimble? Has he gone to hunt the thimble? We must find him or the train can't start. I always love, and he gives one flash of his glass green eyes, and the signal goes all clear. And we're off at last for the northern part of the northern hemisphere. I've just always loved that. I always loved that in the show, and I just thought it was one of those moments where you could just see the audience just light up. And Skimble was such a lovely, lovely cat in charge of everything, making sure that the trains all run on time. And without Skimble, the trains could not have gone. So thank you, T.S. Eliot.
In 1981, Cats opened to critical acclaim, and this December the curtain goes up on an updated version with a brand new cast. It's a new life for these old poems and a fitting tribute to the playful side of one of our greatest poets.
I can't wait to see the new version of Cats. And thank you, Keris. To see more of that brilliant interview with Baron Andrew Lloyd Webber, please go to our website.
Yes. Now, John, just very quickly, you're writing a musical about a fish.
Yes. About a fish called Wanda. I've written the first draft with my lovely daughter Camilla.
Great.
And we're hoping we can turn it into a musical, because I've never done that before and I love to do new things.
Well, fingers crossed, that'll be a good one.
Yeah, we wish you all the very best with that, John, and thank you so much for your company tonight.
Oh,
thank you for having me. Super. Thanks for telling us all those stories as well. I'm sorry we couldn't get to a few
No, more. Sorry, John's autobiography, So Anyway, is out now, and he's touring with his book until the 21st of December. I'm sorry again for John's fruity language, John. Sorry if it offended anybody.
I didn't know you couldn't say that word. I
Let's not say it again.
I used to say it in Monty Python.
Oh, well, then, maybe not at 7 o'clock.
It's 1960.
Anyway. Tomorrow we're going to be here with Al Murray and James.
Oh, yes.
Hope you can join us then.
Bye.
Thank you.